Hey PJs, welcome back to another video. Today I'm doing a little bit of a different review. Instead of just like regular slimes, I decided to purchase a slime baking kit, and this kit comes from Slime Community. Slime baking kits is definitely something that rose and fell really quickly as a trend for slimers, but Slime Community has actually kept them around and has gotten really popular for them. Like, she sells them quite often and they always seem to go out of stock really quickly, so I'm really excited to try this. And of course, besides the slime baking kit, I got their business card, some candy, and this huge bottle of slime activator, which lasted me so long. I was so grateful. All of the ingredients and everything for this baking kit came in this cute box, and on the top there is a cute spatula. Like, everything in this, I'm gonna keep saying cute because everything is like miniature and just perfect for slime and stuff. And then I also got the apple pie recipe. That is what I'll be creating. Kind of forgot to mention it, but it is an apple pie slime baking kit, and kind of funny story, kind of sad. I was supposed to get a different baking kit, but I waited too long because I was too indecisive. I was like, do I really want to try this? I'm really scared. But in the time that I wanted to try it, it sold out. So I had to choose a different one, but I'm not mad about it because I think this one turned out really good. Before I actually get into making this kit, I want to say how much I appreciate all like the ingredients and everything. Everything was well thought out. The only problem I had was that the baking tins, they're just like super flimsy, so they did bend. That's like a super small detail, but like everything was well thought out, and like all the containers you can reuse, and it just looks so good. Everything was labeled perfectly, and it really looked like I was actually making food, which is the point. So I think they nailed it. I did my best to always show the apple pie recipe card so you could follow along in the steps of what I'm doing. And step one was to assemble the egg. And it really looks like an egg, and that is incredible. I love it. And yeah, so anyways, I don't really know how to do a voiceover for this, but you just like kind of follow along. So the second step is to add the egg, the butter, the sugar, and the flour all into the mixing bowl and then mix it. I also did my best to show like every single part of the process, so if it gets a little weird at times or like I'm taking too long to open a package, it's like a prime example of why I don't show opening on regular reviews, because I can't do it right and it just doesn't look right. But I did it in this one to actually make it look like, I was cooking, because that's the point. So if you do like it this way, I might start showing more steps, like how I assemble slimes and stuff like that, but it takes so long and it just looks weird because I hit the camera and then I'll assemble things wrong and all that good stuff. So I kind of just try to make it look like I did a good job instead of I failed 50 times before filming again. Once I put all the ingredients into the mixing bowl, I started mixing it with the spatula that was provided. I honestly didn't think about it until it happened, but the spatula is incredibly flimsy. It kept bending. The yellow silicone part didn't want to stay on the handle, and I was just having such a bad time with it. But I did try to keep going to make it look more realistic, like I'm actually mixing ingredients together. As you'll see in a little bit, I do give up like halfway through and I start mixing it with my hands, but I just wanted to speed up the process so that I wasn't doing this for like 10 minutes, and I was also like in danger of hitting the camera so many times because like this took a lot of strength to mix together with a flimsy spatula. So I thought, why not just mix it with my hands? And you know what, I'm making dough anyways. Doesn't everybody need dough at some point? So I'm like doing part of it correctly, right? Like, points for trying. And even though the spatula was really flimsy and I had a hard time mixing everything together, I still had a ton of fun doing it because, like I said, it did look really realistic, and it was just super fun to be able to mix like slime together to actually make something that looks like dough. And I really think they did such a good job. Like, I know I keep saying that, but it just looks so good. I am going to break character for a second for those that are curious of what the texture is like. Once everything was mixed together, it felt like a super smooth butter slime with texture, because there wasn't enough snow fizz to like really change the texture, just enough to where like if you stretch it, you can feel that there's like bumps in it, and it was like actually a really cool texture. I would definitely play with something like this. And then moving on to the next step, once everything was mixed, I put the ingredients back into the bowl and then added the vanilla until it turned into a dough color. hope you enjoyed the awkward silence, and I just wanted to point out a keen little detail that like totally nobody would miss. Because everybody reads through the instructions before they start making things, right? Like everybody, so nobody would forget that you should save some of the flour before rolling out the dough, so nothing sticks or anything. Yeah. Who would forget that? Because I totally didn't. Moving on to the next step, which is to refrigerate the dough for 5 minutes. I take my job very seriously, so I, yes, put this in my fridge to refrigerate. And it says for 5 minutes. I totally didn't do it for 5 seconds. Shut up. After the dough was totally in the fridge for 5 minutes, I took this cold slab of slime out of the fridge because I left it in the fridge and started to roll it out. And, this is where the lovely little flour would come in. That nobody would forget about, right? So it started sticking to the pin really bad, and I started freaking out because it wouldn't come off of the pin, and then I tried to still roll it out with the pin, and then I added some activator to the pin so that maybe it wouldn't stick, and it started not sticking, but then the activator kind of mushed in the part that stuck to the pin already, so it stuck even harder, and I had to sit it in water for the rest of the evening so that I could take off the slime from the pin, but the activator did work, and I definitely read all the instructions correctly. Yeah. That's not my fault. I don't know. But anyways, moving on. The next step is, of course, to put the dough in the pans. Yes. Because they are flimsy, it did kind of break a little bit. But if you want to know how I got this cute little design that I'm making, it's just a pinch and roll on the edges. Fun fact, this is exactly how my mom does real pies when she makes them. I always thought her design was super cool. So I decided to do it on these because I think they just look so good. So yeah, that's how I made the cute little design. And finally, we're on to the pie filling. This is already pre-made. All you gotta do is add it to the dough and then you're done. So I'm going to break character again for those who want to know what this texture is like. It's just like a clear jelly cube that's kind of bouncy. And I was pretty nervous about the scent because it was supposed to smell like cinnamon, which usually when they smell like that, they're way too strong. But this one smelled kind of like how fall smells, like a fall candle mixed with apples. And it wasn't too cinnamony, a little more than I prefer, but not really overpowering to the point where I'd get a headache, because that has happened before and I had a little PTSD from that. I was so scared to get this because I did not want it to smell that strong. And for the final step, that is to add the whipped topping, which I believe is just clay. I just split it in half, swirled it, and added it to the top of the slime. And because it is a slime, they sent apple slice Fimos and an apple charm to also add to the top, and I think these look gorgeous. Since I talked through the whole video, I'm going to give my final thoughts here, and then you get to hear the rest just ASMR. So once I finally mix the slime together, the texture is basically what you think it would feel like. It's like a clay slime with added texture from the Snow Fizz and the jelly cubes. The jelly cubes are really fun to squish because they sat in slime for so long that they're kind of soft, if that makes sense, but they still give that squish that jelly cubes have. It's really fun. This slime is also just one of those ones I've talked about before where you can pretty much do everything with it. It's so versatile, and I think it's really good for beginners and basically everybody. It's super fun to play with. It inflates slightly, it's not tacky at all, and it's got really good texture, obviously. So I think it's a really fun slime to play with. I think that slime community did an amazing job with this slime. Everything looked so realistic. I love the step-by-step process, and I think it was definitely worth the money. I will admit I was a little nervous because, it's just one slime, so you're not sure how the experience will go, but I think the experience was worth it. It was incredible, and I definitely want to do these again. And of course, do let me know if I should try these again because it was just super fun. And I know a lot of you guys have been itching for another slime kitchen episode, so I thought this would be the perfect opportunity. And of course, everything about this, the experience, the slime, everything gets 5 out of 5 pajamas. with that, that is the end of this review, and I really hope you guys enjoyed. I also hope you enjoyed the long segment of ASMR. Like, there was a lot of it, but I thought you guys might appreciate it since I was talking so much to the video, so you actually got to see the texture and everything. But with that, I am signing off, and I will see you guys in the next one.